from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Twilight Zone Old Peking. Welcome back, Wayfarer, Wanderer, Wizard Warrior, and Wildcat alike. Wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission, I'm checking to see if the feedback loop is going to work on any of this. But so there we go. It's going to work. All right. Okay, excellent. Looks like we've got a bit of a delay on the actual transmission coming out to all of you out in Happy Land, but we've got a direct uh, reflection over here on the laptop, so that's strange. But it is what it is, right? I'm not going to overthink it. I got a bit of a prick in my neck. Maybe it's the way I slept last night. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something more dire. Oh no. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness. He who was, is, and shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Good. Looks like all systems are go, guys. Make sure you check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Chilling for the shekels. Put a little something, something in the tip jar, man. That'll keep the lead in my pencil, the pep in my step. And let's try camera. No, that just turns the camera off. I guess, can we shift camera? That shifts it over there. But there's supposed to be another camera. Yeah, see, it doesn't do it. It just shifts between those two cameras. But there is also like a wide angle camera that was available on lighting on. I don't see any lighting. Lighting off. Okay, so the screen can light it up a bit. That's kind of weird. Let's see, we can put on a color filter, I guess. Retouch on. Maybe that'll make me look a little more attractive for you good-looking, sexy people out there in Happy Land. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Yeah, that old softening effect of the AI could be a good thing. Let's try to tip this down just a little bit without knocking it off the fucking stand, right? Is that good? Is that golden? Golden. So we're still working on I and Thou by Martin Buber. If you've been keeping up, old Booby's book, a new translation with prologue and notes by Walter Kaufman, printed in published, I believe, first in 1970. Yeah, 1970. That's the copyright from Charles Scribner's Sons. Walter Kaufman, introduction written in 1970. We're on page 75. And we finished off with you, but the perception of the tree of life, by the human consciousness, it has erected the crucial barrier between subject and object, the basic word I it. The word of separation has been spoken. That fucking crick in my neck is going to kill me. It's right here under the ear. It's been giving me a bit of a headache today. Well, I'm gonna soldier on for y'all good-looking sex people out there in Happy Land. As long as you like and subscribe, and please, I think that touch-up thing, that retouch-up thing, was making it look like I had makeup on, which is just weird because I don't wear no freaking makeup. You know what I'm saying, amigo? Then our melancholy lot took shape in primal history. Indeed, it developed insofar as man's conscious life developed in primal history. But in conscious life, cosmic being recurs as human becoming. The spirit appears in time as a product, even a byproduct of nature, and yet it is spirit that envelops nature timelessly. The opposition of the two basic words has many names and ages and worlds, but in its nameless truth, it inheres in the creation. Then you believe, after all, in some paradise in the primal age of humanity, even if it was a hell, and the age to which we can go back in historical thought was certainly full of wrath and dread and torment and cruelty. Unreal, it was not. Primal man's experiences of encounter were scarcely a matter of tame delight. But even violence against a being one really confronts is better than ghostly solitude or faceless digits. From the former, a path leads to God, from the latter, only to nothingness. That's an interesting distinction. We kind of have to look at that for a moment and contemplate. Okay, so he says from the perspective of a cruel, wrathful, primeval past. That path leads to God. But from a historic nihilism, a ghostly solitude, or faceless digits, that latter only leads to nothingness. With the footnote in German, ins nichts, or to in nothing, right? To in not nil. So yeah, it's almost a transliteration of earlier Taoism, right? Like Tao Te Ching type teaching, but it's not. Not really. What is this? Oh yeah, some sort of schmegma. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out, even though I remember that was marked at a point that seemed of interest, but only at the 107th page, and we're already at the 77th page, so we're only 40 pages off from wherever that was. And maybe I'll put it back. It kind of irritated me though, the way it was spoken out. Maybe some spirit is trying to get me to look at that page a little deeper. We're going to have to adapt the light setting a little bit, as garish as it may be. Old Frank Monday's going to need it to read by. Where'd we leave off? Here we go. Oh, I wanted to preface this with a passage from Israel Regardi's Garden of Pomegranates, just a single paragraph. Now, he's talking about the tree of life or Kabbalah, right? In Garden of Pomegranates. And damn, that's some good looking person right there in the mirror. He says in the Zohar, in the Zohar itself speaks of a divine spiritual influence called Mezla, and it's a tetragrammaton. It's a four-lettered word, and the Hebrew is Mem Zadai Lamed Aleph, if you want to look it up. I believe it's an intelligence. It says a divine spiritual influence which descends from Keter to Malkut by way of the paths, vivifying and sustaining all things. So this might actually be the path of the lightning strike, right? Mesla. Now, I've read this book a dozen times and I don't remember paying specific or particular attention to this point here. By endeavoring to implant the roots of this living tree into our own consciousness, tending it daily with devotion, tenderness, and perseverance, almost imperceptibly, we shall find new spiritual knowledge springing up spontaneously within us. The universe, the universe will then begin to appear as a synthetic, homogeneous whole. The W in whole here is capitalized. And the student will discover that the sum total of his knowledge will become unified and find himself able to transmit, even on the intellectual plane, the many into the one. So, uh, important points, important footnotes to point out here. The many into one, both many and one are capitalized. And it's really going to annoy the fucking dog shit out of me. But anyway, um, here they're talking about all of the various categorizing points of the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, right? So if we have some familiarity with the Sefer Sephirah, right, then we're talking about those sphere centers and the paths that connect them. But the spheres are the drawers of the filing cabinet. And so as we place more and more correspondences, once the diagram of the Tree of Life is ingrained within the psyche, imprinted on the psychic aura, as it were, then we'll find that the student will discover that the sum total of his knowledge will become unified. This is, in the long run, the disregarding of all the inessentials, the goal of every mystic, no matter by which of the names he dominates his path and which of the various byroads he follows. So again, more Taoism, right? In Tao, it said that in ordinary learning, every day something is gained. But in the study of Tao, every day something is given up or abandoned, right? Every day something is lost. Let's continue. Even if we could fully understand the life of the primitive, it would be no more than a metaphor for that of the truly primal man. Hence, the primitive affords us only brief glimpses into the temporal sequence of the two basic words, I and thou, and I and it, right? I, you, I, it. Those are the two basic words, the two basic dichotomies of the individual, that the separation, the shells, as it were, that one puts between the one and themselves. Here it becomes unmistakably clear how the spiritual reality of the basic word emerges from a natural reality. that of the basic word I you from a natural association, and that of the basic word I it from a natural discreteness. Couple of footnotes here. The I it from natural association says, Naterboften Vubendbeet, or association, is used in this book only to render Verbundenbeet, Verbundenbeit, beet. Verbundenheit, that's an H or a B, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, that's a H, not a B. Okay, good. It's got a little bit of an underscore, so it makes it look more like a B. So it should be height. Verbundenheit. Natterhaften, Natterhaften, Verbundenheit. Verbundenheit. Okay, good enough. I'll leave it there. Um, the prenatal life of the child is a pure natural association, a flowing toward each other, a bodily reciprocity, and the life horizon of the developing being appears uniquely inscribed, and yet also not inscribed in that of the being that carries it. For the womb in which it dwells is not solely that of the human mother. This association is so cosmic that it seems like the imperfect deciphering of a primeval inscription when we are told in the language of Jewish myth that in his mother's womb man knows the universe and forgets it at birth. And as the secret image of a wish, this association remains to us. But this longing ought not be taken for a craving to go back, as those suppose who consider the spirit, which they confound with their own intellect, a parasite of nature. For the spirit is nature's blossom, albeit exposed to many diseases. What this longing aims for is the cosmic association of the being that has burst into spirit with its true you. It's true you, right? True you being. Every developing human child rests, like all developing beings, in the womb of the Great Mother. This is really filled with a lot of Tao. It's interesting to me, too, that they don't cite any Taoism in their bibliographies of any kind. Fascinating to me. But it would seem, too, that just because you arrive at the same thing as another line of philosophical inquiry doesn't mean that you necessarily purloined it from that field of endeavor. It's absolutely um, apparent that people can arrive at the same idea through different means of deduction, right? But coming up with the same terminology like great mother and like the spirit being nature's blossom, right? The spirit of man is essentially what the universe is doing, right? Oh God, right there, right in the fucking temple, temple of God. No one ever said it was going to be easy, right? They say that suffering is a part of the human experience, and the older I get, the more I tend to believe that. Let's get the old glasses back on. Every developing human child rests, like all developing beings, in the womb of the Great Mother, the undifferentiated whole, not yet formed, in dark hours,